Greetings! Stay in the know with Dr. Now. Today I'm going to discuss human nature. What is human nature? I think a fair definition would be behavior all humans would exhibit regardless of external influences, correct? So that means people should have a set of behaviors they always do, no matter where they were born or what environment they live in. And don't forget when they lived either. A famous scientist named Charles Darwin was noted to believe that humans and other animal species had no truly fixed nature. So if humans don't have a fixed nature, where do traits like selfishness and greed come from? The answer is scarcity. When something is scarce, people hoard it. Other people are left without it. And the people holding on to the scarce resource have all the power. I believe that humans are blank slates and learn, as they did as cavemen, that when there isn't enough for everyone and someone has to go hungry, you have to do what it takes to survive. That's all there was when we were basically animals ourselves. But today we have a system that follows the same rules. As I've shown before, scarcity is rewarded with profit. Consider this. All money is created through loans. Mathematically speaking, there is more debt in the system than there is money to cover the principal and the interest. So today, instead of clubs and lion meat, we have interest and money. You cannot eat without money. You cannot live in a shelter without money. Currently, we can't even be sure we drink clean water without money. Survival is undeniably dependent on having money. So looking back, the cavemen learned that they must fight each other for survival. Nowadays, we must fight each other for money and therefore our very survival. It's musical chairs. Not only can someone lose for simply being unlucky or for not being quick or ruthless enough, but someone must lose. This creates an enormous amount of stress for people. They must compete and work against other people to make sure they make enough money to survive. This is the reason people feel outraged when they think someone else is getting a free ride from their hard work. It really is crazy when you realize the survival system we have is designed to give people money for performing no labor. I mentioned this in a previous episode about money, but I'll talk about it in another way. People must take out loans to interact with our system of survival. Want an education to be able to compete in society? You need a school loan. Do you want to live in a house? You need a home loan. Do you need a car to get to work to make a wage? You need a car loan. Now, of course, if you were already wealthy, you wouldn't need a loan, and you would actually pay less for all these things, because you wouldn't have to pay back any interest. The U.S. government does the exact same thing when it needs money for anything. It actually borrows the money, with a promise to pay back the full amount plus interest. The result, like I said before, is that the amount of debt in our system is larger than the amount of money to pay it back. So the people who are left out in the cold and need to take out loans to survive in our system must work against interest that can never be paid back. This can be called wage slavery. People must work to pay for their food. They must work to pay for their home. They also must work to pay the interest for the right to interact with our survival system. In other words, the already rich in our survival system can do nothing, contribute nothing to society, and sit back and collect money from people doing actual labor. It's important to think about the big picture. If money is created with debt, then debt is inevitable. With such a system, social stratification, that is, inequality in the quality of life, is unavoidable. But what's that? What does this have to do with human nature? Well, I thought I made that clear. If we live in a survival system that is built on greed and personal profit, we turn out just like Pavlov's dog, but we are rewarded for being selfish and greedy. So besides greed, what else can we look at to give us examples of the flexibility of human nature? If a 100% Korean child is put up for adoption and adopted by parents in America and raised in the classical, good old American way, the human child will learn to speak, dress, eat, act, and think like an American. And don't forget the common American tradition of parents arguing about money. Of course, in either culture, the child would experience scarcity. This holds true for any culture. A human child of any ethnicity, raised by any culture, will exhibit all the traits inherent to that culture. How's that for human flexibility? There's one more thing I wanted to talk about before I go. They say alcoholism is genetic, or it's just that addictive behavior is. The habit may be observed as a child, but for the sake of argument, let's say alcoholism can be hardwired into humans through their genes. There's this program called Alcoholics Anonymous, where people learn the reasons why they drink and discover the courage to change their behavior to something that is more healthy for them and their family and friends. So the bottom line is, if humans are hardwired with this or that tendency, it's still a matter of education and choice. If you want to discuss this topic and many others, check out the Zeitgeist Movement at thezeitgeistmovement.com. Thanks for watching!